The combat instructor's blade stops 2 centimeters from the human exchange student's throat, and Emma Johnson smiles like he just told a dad joke. Korvax froze. In 47 combat campaigns across 8 star systems, in 30 years of teaching the Galactic Military Academy's elite combat course, he had never seen this response. His monomolecular blade hovered at the killing position, perfectly placed for the demonstration strike that should have every survival instinct in this student's body screaming in primal terror. The human was smiling, not the rictus of fear paralysis he'd seen in traumatized soldiers, not the manic grin of shock, genuine amusement like she just remembered something funny. Instructor Korvax, the Academy's automated security system, chimed in his auditory implant. Human biometrics showing 0 threat response, 0 elevation in stress hormones, heart rate steady at 72 beats per minute. This constitutes a Protocol 7 medical emergency. Emergency response teams dispatching. Around the training arena, 200 of the galaxy's finest military cadets sat in frozen horror. The demonstration, a standard teaching module on knife combat fundamentals, had gone catastrophically wrong. Except nothing had actually gone wrong. That was the problem. Korvax's mandibles clicked in involuntary confusion. "Student Johnson," he said carefully, maintaining the blade's position exactly. "You understand that this weapon is currently positioned to sever your carotid artery, yes?" According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. "Oh yeah," Emma said, still smiling. "I can see it right there." She didn't even sound nervous. The arena doors burst open. 3 senior instructors rushed in, followed by a medical team. Vice Admiral Talana appeared in the observation deck above, her 3 eyes wide with what Korvax recognized as diplomatic panic. "Korvax, what in the name of the founders are you doing?" Commander Zilax hissed through his communicator. "That's a human. Do you have any idea what kind of incident?" "She was selected by random protocol for victim demonstration," Korvax said, his voice tight. "Standard procedure. I executed a standard demonstration strike. He didn't know how to finish that sentence. Emma's smile widened slightly. "Is this the part where I'm supposed to be scared?" The question hit the arena like a plasma detonation. "Supposed to be?" Korvax heard himself say. His blade hand trembled, not from strain but from the sheer cognitive dissonance. "Student Johnson, you are in immediate lethal danger. This blade can cut through military-grade combat armor. One twitch of my hand and you die. Your fear response should be..." "Oh!" Emma's eyes lit up with understanding. "You mean like actually scared?" "Sorry, I thought this was just a teaching demonstration. You know, showing everyone what it looks like?" She laughed, actually laughed. "I didn't want to mess up your lesson by flinching or whatever." In the observation deck, Vice Admiral Talana was speaking rapidly into her communicator, probably alerting the Galactic Council. In the stands, a Vexian cadet had fainted. The medical team was staring at their scanners like the devices had malfunctioned. "Sir," the lead medic said quietly, "her readings are consistent with someone watching a mildly interesting lecture. There's no trauma response, no shock. She's just standing there." Korvax slowly, carefully withdrew the blade. Emma watched it go with polite interest, like she was observing proper etiquette rather than the removal of a lethal threat. "Student Johnson," he said, his voice hoarse, "in my 30 years of teaching, every student, every single one, responds to this demonstration with appropriate fear. It's not weakness, it's survival instinct, it's biology. You are a living organism facing death. You should be terrified." Emma tilted her head thoughtfully. I guess if you'd actually been trying to kill me, maybe, but you're a teacher. This is a school. Why would I be scared?" "Because the weapon is real," Korvax said, hearing desperation creep into his voice. "Because the danger is real, because I am demonstrating what death looks like." "Right." But you weren't going to actually do it, Emma said reasonably. That would be like super illegal, and also a terrible way to teach a class. She paused. Also, you'd feel really bad after. Commander Zilax had reached the arena floor. Instructor Korvax, step away from the human. Slowly. I'm not threatening her, Korvax protested. We know, Zilax said grimly. That's what's terrifying. She doesn't recognize threat assessment. Emma Johnson, please step back from the instructor. Emma shrugged and took a few steps back. Sure. Sorry. Did I mess up the demonstration? I can do it again if you want, and this time I'll try to look more scared. Every alien in the arena made a small, involuntary sound of distress. That won't be necessary, Talana said from above, her voice carefully controlled. Class dismissed. All students exit the arena immediately. Human student will remain for debriefing. The cadets fled. It was the only word for it. Elite military students, training to serve on warships and lead combat teams, fled from the arena like prey animals sensing a predator. Emma watched them go, confused. Was it something I said? Korvax set the blade down on the equipment table with exaggerated care, as if he were disarming an antimatter device. His hands, steady through countless real battles, were shaking. Student Johnson, Vice Admiral Talana said, descending from the observation deck with Commander Zilax and the medical team, I need you to understand the severity of what just occurred. This weapon, she gestured to the blade, has a monomolecular edge. It can cut through starship bulkheads. It is used in specialized military operations, and Instructor Korvax just held it to your throat. Right, Emma said. It's really cool. We have kitchen knives kind of like that back home. Not quite as nice, but similar concept. The silence that followed was absolute. Kitchen, Korvax said slowly. Knives. Yeah, ceramic mono-edge blades. My roommate has a set. They're amazing for vegetables, Emma smiled. Though you have to be super careful because they're really sharp. She actually cut off her fingertip slicing bagels last month, straight through the bone. The medical officer made a choking sound. Your roommate, Talana said, her voice very, very quiet, suffered catastrophic tissue loss from a food preparation implement. I mean, it was just the tip, Emma said, like half an inch maybe? They reattached it at the student health clinic. She was back to work the next day. Well, she had to keep it bandaged for a week, but student health clinic, Zilax repeated. Civilian medical facility, reattached, next day. Is that weird? Emma looked genuinely uncertain now. Do you guys not have emergency microsurgery? We have regenerative medicine for combat trauma, Talana said. It requires specialized facilities, trained surgeons, and multiple treatment sessions. For military personnel, you're describing civilian infrastructure for routine accidents. I mean, it wasn't routine, Emma protested. Sarah felt really dumb about it. She usually uses the cutting guard. Korvax sat down heavily on the equipment bench. You have safety equipment for your military-grade food preparation weapons. They're not military-grade, Emma laughed. They're like $40 at Target. You can get them anywhere. The aliens exchanged glances. Talana made a subtle gesture, and Zilax activated his communicator, speaking quietly to someone off-site. Student Johnson, Korvax said, pulling himself together with visible effort. I'm going to explain something, and I need you to listen carefully. That blade I held to your throat? I have used it in combat. I have seen it cut through armored enemies. It is designed for killing. And you're telling me your species uses similar implements to slice bagels? And vegetables, Emma added helpfully, really good for tomatoes. I need to sit down, the medical officer said, already sitting. Talana's communicator chimed. She listened for a moment, her expression growing more strained. Student Johnson, I've just received confirmation of your planet's classification. Earth is rated Class 12 on the Galactic Deathworld Index. Deathworld, Emma blinked. We just call it Earth. Class 12 means your planet has multiple extinction-level threat sources, Zilax explained. Extreme weather, seismic instability, toxic biological agents, dangerous megafauna. The fact that your species achieved spaceflight is considered miraculous. Emma's confusion deepened. I mean, yeah, Earth has weather and stuff. Doesn't every planet? Define weather and stuff, Talana said carefully. You know, rain, snow, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, normal planet things. Hurricanes, Korvac said faintly. You consider hurricanes normal? I mean, we have a whole season for them, Emma said. Hurricane season, June through November. You just check the forecast and evacuate if a big one's coming. How big? The medical officer asked, morbidly fascinated. Depends. Category 3 or higher, usually. Category 5s are pretty scary, but they don't happen every year. Zilax was frantically entering queries into his datapad. His face went through several color changes as he read the results. Student Johnson, a Category 5 hurricane generates wind speeds equivalent to atmospheric entry velocities, with precipitation rates that would be classified as a tactical flood weapon, and you consider this routine weather? I mean, not routine, Emma said. More like, it happens enough that everyone knows what to do. You stock up on water and batteries, maybe evacuate if you're in the flood zone, and wait for it to pass. Wait for it to pass, Talana repeated. You don't have planetary defense systems? Atmospheric stabilizers? For weather? Emma looked genuinely amused. No, you can't stop weather. It just happens. You deal with it. Korvac stood up and walked to the equipment rack. He selected 3 different blades, a short tactical knife, a medium combat blade, and a long ceremonial weapon, and returned to face Emma. Student Johnson, I'm going to perform 3 demonstration strikes, standard combat sequences. I need to observe your threat response properly this time. Okay, Emma said agreeably. The first strike came in a blur, a horizontal slash that stopped a finger's width from Emma's midsection. She watched it with polite interest. The second was a thrust toward her chest, halted precisely at her sternum. She didn't blink. The third was an overhead strike that would have split her skull, arrested millimeters from her forehead. She smiled encouragingly, like he was doing a good job. Korvac lowered the blade slowly. Nothing, he said. No flinch reflex, no pupil dilation, no elevated breathing. Nothing. Should there be something? Emma asked. I mean, I could tell you weren't actually going to hit me. You have really good control. The point, Korvac said, his voice rising despite himself, is that your instincts should override your conscious knowledge. Even knowing it's safe, your body should react. That's how survival instincts work. Huh, Emma said thoughtfully. Maybe humans just have different instincts? 20 minutes later, Dr. Zilax, no relation to Commander Zilax, though they were from the same species, arrived in person. He was the galaxy's preeminent xenopsychologist, author of 17 textbooks, and had personally evaluated representatives from over 400 species. He took one look at the assembled command staff's expressions and said, "That bad?" "Worse," Talana said. "She's completely unafraid of lethal weapons. She thinks hurricanes are routine weather, and she says her planet's cooking implements can amputate fingers." "And we reattach them," Emma added from where she sat on the bench, swinging her legs. "Usually." Dr. Zilax set down his equipment case and approached Emma with the careful posture of someone approaching a dangerous animal. "Student Johnson, I'm going to perform a standard xenopsychological evaluation. It's completely non-invasive. I'll show you some images and ask for your reactions. Is that acceptable?" "Sure," Emma said brightly. The first image materialized in the holographic projector. A Vraxian apex predator, jaws open, captured mid-strike. 67 species had classified this image as inducing strong fear responses. Emma tilted her head. "Oh, it's kinda cute, like a big dog with extra teeth." Dr. Zilax made a note. The next image appeared, a Keltharan storm system, classified as a Class 9 natural disaster. Oh, wow, Emma said. That looks like a really big thunderstorm. Maybe a supercell. We get those in the Midwest sometimes. The lightning's really pretty. The doctor's hands trembled as he advanced to the next image, a volcanic eruption that had destroyed an entire planetary settlement. Pompeii style? Emma asked with interest. We had one of those. Well, a bunch, but Pompeii's the famous one. You can visit the ruins. They're really well preserved because of all the ash. Dr. Zilak sat down next to Korvax. Her fear centers aren't malfunctioning, he said quietly. They're functioning perfectly. They just have completely different activation thresholds than anything I've ever seen. Show her something from Earth, Talana suggested. Dr. Zilax nodded and pulled up Earth's classification file. He selected an image at random, an Australian saltwater crocodile. Oh, that's a salty, Emma said immediately. You don't want to mess with those. They're apex predators, super dangerous. Every alien leaned forward hopefully. But you just don't swim where they are, Emma continued. There are signs, and if you see one, you back away slowly. They're not going to chase you on land usually. Usually, Korvax said weakly. I mean, they can, but they mostly don't bother unless you're being dumb about it. Emma shrugged. Steve Irwin used to handle them all the time. Steve Irwin? Zilax asked. Wildlife educator, Emma said. He had a TV show. Taught people about dangerous animals. And he handled creatures that could kill him, Talana said. I mean, yeah, but he was a professional. He knew what he was doing. Emma paused. Well, until the Stingray incident. Stingray incident, Dr. Zelax repeated, entering the query into the galactic database. His eyes widened as the results appeared. He was killed by a creature that's classified as generally docile during routine filming. Yeah, that was really sad, Emma said. Total freak accident. Stingrays hardly ever kill people. Maybe 1 or 2 a year. Globally? 1 or 2 per year, Korvax said, of one species. On one planet. Well, yeah, but Earth has a lot of species, Emma said. Lots of things can kill you if you're not careful. Spiders, snakes, jellyfish, octopi, well, one specific octopus, some plants, certain fish, a bunch of insects, some frogs. She trailed off at the expressions around her. Student Johnson, Dr. Zilax said carefully, you're describing an enormous variety of lethal organisms. Across multiple biological categories, this is consistent with Class 12 Deathworld classification. How does your species survive childhood? Emma laughed. Honestly, lots of warning labels and parents yelling, be careful pretty much constantly. Oh, and we teach kids about dangerous stuff early. Like in elementary school, we learn which plants and animals to avoid. Elementary school, Talana said. That's ages 5 to 11 in human development, correct? Yeah, about that. You teach survival training to 5-year-olds. I mean, not like combat training, Emma said. More like, don't touch the pretty red berries, they'll make you super sick. And if you see a snake, back away slowly, and don't swim in water with warning signs. Basic stuff. Korvax stood up and walked to the arena's wall, placing his forehead against it. Basic stuff, basic survival training for kindergarteners. My little sister's 8, Emma offered. She can identify 15 types of dangerous snakes by sight, knows to check her shoes for spiders, and understands rip current safety. That's pretty normal. That's more than our Marines learn, Commander Zilax said quietly. Really? Emma looked surprised. But how do they not die? Because most planets aren't trying to kill them, Korvax roared, spinning around. Student Johnson, your normal planet has more extinction-level threats than most species encounter in their entire evolutionary history. The fact that you consider any of this routine is terrifying, Dr. Zilax finished. She's not wrong to ask. From her perspective, every day on Earth requires survival skills that would qualify as advanced military training elsewhere. Emma's eyes widened. Oh. So when you did the knife thing, you expected me to be scared because you guys don't have to dodge death on a regular basis? Yes, 5 aliens said in unison. Huh, Emma said. That's actually kind of nice. Must be relaxing. This explains so much about human history, Talana said, scrolling through her datapad. The casualty rates in first contact situations, the hold my beer incidents, the reason human ships have 17 times as many medical facilities as equivalent vessels. She looked up. You're not brave, you're just calibrated differently. I mean, we die a lot, Emma said. Humans, I mean. We're actually pretty fragile. But there's a lot of us and we're really good at warning each other about dangerous stuff, and we make safety equipment. Lots of safety equipment. For your kitchen knives, Korvac said, and power tools, and chemicals, and sports equipment, and cars, and... Please stop, Dr. Zilak said. I need to recalibrate every xenopsychological model I've ever created. Vice Admiral Talana stood at the center of the arena, Emma's classification file projected in the air around her. The Academy's entire senior staff had assembled, along with several officials from Galactic Command who'd arrived via emergency transport. Let me summarize, Talana said, her voice tight with control. Earth is a Class 12 Deathworld, the highest survivable rating. Student Johnson's species evolved by successfully dodging extinction-level threats on a daily basis. Their baseline survival instincts are calibrated to environmental dangers that would overwhelm our military's combat protocols. Furthermore, Dr. Zilax added, pulling up neurological scans, human stress responses function differently. What Student Johnson considers relaxed generates adrenaline levels higher than most species' panic responses. Her normal state is what we would classify as combat-ready. Admiral Cathen, who'd come from Galactic Fleet Command, studied Emma with the careful attention of someone observing a particularly interesting weapon. Student Johnson, when Instructor Korvax held that blade to your throat, what were you actually thinking? Emma considered. I guess that he was showing us what a knife attack looks like, and that he had really good control because he stopped it exactly where he wanted. Oh, and I was thinking I should remember the positioning for the exam. You were analyzing technique, Korvax said, while a blade was at your throat. I mean, that's literally what you were teaching, right? She's not wrong, Commander Zilax murmured. Admiral Cathen made a decision. Vice Admiral Talana, I'm authorizing a complete curriculum review for all human students. Instructor Korvax, you'll lead the revision team. We need combat training that actually registers as training for Deathworlders. Sir, Korvax said carefully, what level of threat stimulus do you suggest? I have no idea, Cathen admitted. That's why this is going to be a research project. Student Johnson, hypothetically, what would make you nervous in a combat training scenario? Emma thought about it. Maybe live ammunition, with actual consequences if someone messes up, or training against something that's actually trying to hurt you? Every alien in the room made a small sound of horror. What we consider advanced special operations training, Talana said faintly, she considers adequate for basic instruction. I'm not trying to be difficult, Emma said quickly. I guess I don't really understand what you want me to be scared of. I know the training's important, but it's training. It's supposed to be safe. Safe, Korvax repeated. She thinks practice with live weapons is safe because it's supervised. Isn't it? Emma asked. Dr. Zilax was scribbling notes furiously. This is fascinating. Her risk assessment isn't broken. It's just operating on a completely different scale. To her, a supervised weapons demonstration is objectively safe because the probability of actual harm is minimal, compared to, say, driving a car on Earth, which kills millions annually, but which humans also consider acceptably safe. Wait, millions? Commander Zylax looked ill. It's going down, Emma said defensively. We have better safety features now and stricter laws about alcohol. They operate individual transport vehicles while intoxicated, Admiral Cathen said, reading from the Earth file. Regularly, despite knowing it's lethal. Well, not regularly, Emma protested. That's illegal. But some people are dumb about it. Some people are dumb about it, Talana echoed. And millions die and you still do it. I mean, we need to get places, Emma said. Public transport isn't great everywhere, and most people are safe drivers. Most, Korvac said. Not all. Just most. That's acceptable. What do you guys do? Emma asked, genuinely curious. We have automated transport systems, Talana said, with redundant safety features, operated by trained professionals, and our death rates are measured in individuals per decade, not millions per year. Oh, Emma said, that does sound safer. You think? Zilax asked incredulously. Admiral Cathen tapped his datapad decisively. New protocols, effective immediately. Human students get separate combat training cohorts. Threat levels will be recalibrated to Deathworld standard. Instructor Korvax has authorization to develop appropriate curriculum. With all due respect, sir, Korvax said, I have no idea where to start. Start by assuming everything we think we know about appropriate danger levels is wrong, Cathen said. Student Johnson, you're going to be our consultant. Standard academic credit plus hazard pay. Hazard pay? Emma perked up. For teaching? For teaching us how not to accidentally insult humans by assuming they'll be afraid of things that are less dangerous than their morning commute, Talana said dryly. That seems fair, Emma said. Oh, does this mean I'm done with regular combat class? Because I have xenobotany in 20 minutes, and Professor Veltrix gets really cranky if we're late. The fact that Emma was more worried about an annoyed professor than she had been about a knife to her throat somehow seemed to summarize the entire situation. You're excused, Talana said. We'll contact you about the new training program. Emma stood, collected her bag, and headed for the door. She paused at the threshold. Oh, and Instructor Korvax. Thanks for going easy on us. This was actually kind of fun. The door closed behind her. Going easy, Korvax said into the silence. Kind of fun. I executed 3 killing strikes and she thought I was going easy. To be fair, Dr. Zilax said, by her standards, you were. She's from a planet where nature executes killing strikes constantly, and she survived to adulthood. Admiral Cathen stood. I'm returning to Fleet Command to brief the Admiralty. They need to understand what we're dealing with. Humans aren't just allies. They're a species that evolved in conditions we'd consider active warfare. Act accordingly. As the senior officers filed out, Korvax remained in the arena, staring at the blade on the equipment table. 30 years, he said to the empty room. 30 years teaching combat, and a 19-year-old agriculture student just made me question everything I know about survival instincts. The emergency meeting convened in Conference Room Alpha involved all 47 human exchange students currently at the academy. Emma sat in the front row, having grabbed a coffee from the commissary on her way over. Thank you all for coming on short notice, Vice Admiral Talana began. Recent events have made it clear that our standard training protocols are inadequate for human students. You mean the knife thing? Asked Michael Rodriguez, an engineering student from Texas. Yeah, Emma mentioned that in the group chat. Sounded wild. The knife thing, Talana said with enormous patience, has resulted in a complete overhaul of Academy combat training doctrine. We need to understand human threat perception more broadly, so I'll ask directly. Did any of you feel that standard weapons demonstrations were actually dangerous? 47 humans exchanged glances. I mean, said Olivia Smith, a linguistics major, we figured they were just demonstrations. Like, obviously you weren't going to actually stab anyone. That would be illegal. And really bad for enrollment, added Jennifer Martinez. Does that mean live fire exercises? Michael asked hopefully. Maybe, Korvax said, sounding slightly hysterical. We're still determining what adequate challenge means for a species that considers Category 5 hurricanes a minor inconvenience. They're really not minor, Emma protested. They're super dangerous. You have to evacuate and everything. You evacuate and then return to the same location, Dr. Zilax pointed out, having joined the meeting, after the extinction-level weather event passes, and rebuild in the same place, where you know it will happen again. I mean, we like the beach, Olivia said. Good weather most of the year. Most of the year, Talana repeated. The remaining time it tries to kill you, but the beach is nice. Exactly, Olivia smiled. I'm going to need so much therapy, Korvax muttered. The meeting continued for another hour, establishing new protocols. Human students would train in separate cohorts. Threat levels would be recalibrated upward. Other species students could observe from behind reinforced barriers. Human feedback would be incorporated into ongoing curriculum development. And perhaps most importantly, academy. Counseling services would be made available to all non-human instructors suffering existential crises. As the humans filed out, chatting excitedly about the new training program, Talana turned to her command staff. Recommendations for the Galactic Council? She found Professor Veltrix, a distinguished botanist with 17 advanced degrees, staring at Emma's experimental plot with an expression of deep confusion. Student Johnson, the professor said slowly, your tomato plants are thriving in soil conditions that should be toxic to Earth flora. Oh yeah, Emma said, checking the soil moisture. Earth plants are pretty hardy. These are heirloom varieties from Sicily. They can handle really harsh conditions. Sicily is another Deathworld region. Nah, just really volcanic soil, good for growing things once you amend it properly. Volcanic, soil, Professor Veltrix made a note. Of course. Why wouldn't Deathworld plants thrive in toxic conditions? They're not toxic, just really acidic, Emma corrected. I adjusted the pH and added some nitrogen. They're actually doing better here than on Earth because there are no pests. What kind of pests do you mean?